Hello, $60,000 doled out in investments in local startups in Multnomah County and Clark County. I will reveal who won the Oregon Columbia River pitch competition. But before we get into that, I, I don't know if you follow this, but if you stay at the end of the episode, I'm like sharing secrets because there's just like, it's you and me. If you hang around, you're the last one there. So I was like, I'm using this time to share secrets about things that are going on. And I revealed this little project that I've been working on, which is really designed to be kind of a database lookbook of people in the startup community. And originally the concept was it was going to be people in the Portland startup community, but it really dawned on me that where we really need connectivity is throughout the entire Oregon startup community. So revealed that, told a few people, wrote about it on the blog this week and kind of shared it to try and get more people. I would love to have you on there. I would love to see your profile because it's really starting to gather. I think there are close to 100 people on it now, and it would be nice to see that get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can sort it and filter and search and all those kind of things. So hopefully helpful to you. But I wanted to take the opportunity to thank 3 particular people who took the opportunity. I wanted to take the opportunity that they took the opportunity to provide their profiles. First and foremost, just alphabetically, Adam Duvander, thank you so much. Longtime member of the Portland startup community. It was great to see his profile in there. Corey Davis out of Salem took the opportunity to put his profile in there. So if you're interested in learning more about Corey and what he's doing in AI, you can scroll through and search and find Corey in there. And maybe if you're in Salem working on AI, you can hit him up as well. And then Joe Fong, a Pi alum, who is always kind of like willing to participate in these kind of things. She has a fantastic podcast. You want to listen to that one. And she's just a real steward of community. So Joe is another one I suggest you reach out to. But most of all, I would just love to see you in there. So if you take a few minutes, I'll link it up below. You can provide your profile. You'll wind up there. Who knows? Maybe I'll even mention you here on the show if you take a few seconds to provide your profile, because we want more people to meet you. We want you connected with more people. So putting your profile in there will help, and hopefully sharing it on the show will help you meet a couple other people. I don't know, but let's do it. Get your profile in there. I might share it and we'll see where we go. Okay, speaking of meeting people, this episode is not going well. The last one was all stream of consciousness. This one, I cannot get my tongue to work correctly, so I apologize. Speaking of meeting people, I just want to give you another reminder that July 8th is the very last big Portland startup community gathering that we will put together for this year. It's going to be kind of a cookout vibe. You don't have to cook anything. Don't worry. We'll have food and beverage and all that kind of stuff for you. But it's at the Red, so we'll have access to both the building and the parking lot. We hope quite a few people from the Portland startup community show up. Really great opportunity to connect with other organizations that support startups, other startup founders, other people who are within the sphere of the Portland startup community, and hopefully just a good gathering to celebrate summer and celebrate making it halfway through 2025 in the Portland startup community. I'll link it up below. Would love to see you there. Please RSVP so that we have an idea how much food to get, how many drinks to get, all that jazz. And if you RSVP, please, 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 please go against typical Portland RSVP culture and just actually show up if you RSVP. That would be huge. If you RSVP, that's great. If you RSVP and then show up, even better. Cool. I look forward to seeing you on July 8th, and we can hang out and have some food and a beverage and chat and meet other people. Should be a good get together for the Portland startup community. And as I mentioned, last one for this year. Final one of the big networking events that we're going to host and put together. So please come on out if that's of interest to you. As I teased at the top of the show, this week was the Oregon Columbia River pitch competition. That's the one where they pit startups from Multnomah County, Oregon, and Clark County, Washington, against one another for prize packages and investment capital, and Ty Oregon wound up providing $60,000 in investment to 2 startups, as well as some prize packages for folks and that kind of thing. So let's say 60,000 plus in prizes. I wanted to reveal who the winners were so you knew who got the big money and the prizes. So I'm going to read those off to you so I don't get anything wrong. These are startups you're going to want to pay attention to regardless of where you are. One of them I've seen win or at least be mentioned in a couple different competitions now. So some startups to keep an eye on. Best overall and audience choice was Yak, Y-A-K, which is a modern audit and compliance platform designed to streamline and automate the audit process for firms and organizations. They walked away with a $45,000 investment and $2,500 in cash. First runner-up was Mickleberry Gardens, which crafts a range of herbal honey tonics, raw honey, beeswax-based skincare, and bee pollen products. They walked away with a $15,000 investment. The part I love most about this one is the second place. Mickleberry Gardens is a bee company. The bee is the second bee. Never mind. And the last prize was a cybersecurity package, which went to Skyfarer Academy, a modern aviation training platform that connects aspiring pilots and certified flight instructors. And that's really it for the breaking news. But other things that happened this week, I had been interviewed on a podcast called the AI Biz podcast about startups in AI and what founders who want to incorporate AI or who are working all in fully on AI should be thinking about. So a great conversation, really interesting questions from the host. I went ahead and posted that on the blog, and I'll link that up in case you're interested in learning about it. But the key takeaway that I'm talking about in that podcast is if you're working in AI, a lot of founders are still thinking about how a human might interact with their product that they're building. And I'm just kind of encouraging folks to start thinking a step ahead, which is with the growing presence of agentic AI, what you might find in the not too distant future is it's not actually a human that's using your software or your service. It's actually an AI agent. So just some things to start to think about, like how does your usability change? How does your user experience change when your user changes from a human to an AI agent? So if that's of interest to you, I talk a little bit about that in that podcast and just encourage you to start thinking about that as a founder. Okay, if you're watching this one on the YouTubes, this may be of interest to you. I was kind of thinking back, we're halfway through 2025. I'm like, I can remember a lot of things that happened, but I'm sure I've forgotten a thing here or two. Here we are, halfway through 2025. I was thinking back, there's been a lot of amazing things that have happened, a lot of cool news stories, but I also realized I've probably forgotten some stuff, or there was stuff that happened that just has slipped my mind. And so I was going to go back and kind of review the first half of the year, see the popular stories, see how much money has been raised, how many events have taken place, how many people have pitched, all that sort of stuff. And it dawned on me that if I was going to do that, I might as well bring you along as well. So on June 29th, starting at noon, I'm just going to live stream all the episodes from the first half of the year, and you're welcome to pop in and hang out and chat, ask questions or roast me or whatever you want to do. It would be great to have you there. But I'm going to kind of use it as a means of just refreshing my brain and remembering all the things that happened in 2025 so far. And again, don't worry, it's going to be at 2x. So we're going to go through it pretty quickly. If it starts at noon and we have 26 episodes to get through, probably going to end around 4:30 or so. So you got a good 4-hour window there. If you want to jump in and come hang out, it would be great to see you. I'd love to see you in the chat. And if not, it will be recorded so that you can watch it later. Really quiet week this week, news-wise. I think, it's getting into summer. Kids are out of school. People are preparing for the July 4th holiday, so stuff starts to quiet down a bit. I don't know, or maybe people are just waiting to drop news on Friday again. But anyway, not a lot of events coming up with the holiday. Not a lot of news activity happening, but maybe that'll kind of pick up a little later on, which is why I wanted to get out ahead with like the July 8th event. It would be great to see you there, and I don't want you to forget about that. And while you're taking time off and all that kind of thing, I hope you get time off. But the summertime kind of gets a little bit quiet, but I will continue searching around for the news that's happening. I will continue featuring Portland startups that are interesting. And of course, if you put your name and profile in the new Oregon Startup Folks database, I may even feature you. Okay, time for secrets. I said at the top of the show for the July 8th thing, it's going to be our last big networking event. Originally, as these experiments started, we started at the very beginning of the year. We started planning in November 2024 and launched a series of events at the beginning of the year. It went really well, super interesting, but they've started to kind of like trail off. It's become obvious that like what we're doing, while I feel it's interesting and we've gotten to work with some really amazing people, it's not quite drawing out the community as we had hoped. And so, like any good startup, it doesn't make sense to keep doing a thing that the community doesn't want or that your end user doesn't need. So we're going to go ahead and cut that experiment short. So rather than going a full 12 months, I feel like we learned enough in 6 months, and we see what's working. We see other areas that we could potentially help the community or could potentially work in some new programming and events. So we decided to refocus, to kind of pivot, if you will, and shift into some different activities that we had been planning for later in the future. But now we've been able to constrain the timeline, not do a full year, do 6 months, and then now we can move in to our new community experiment. So stay tuned for what's going on there. Few ideas, some stuff's already planned now. I would say, yeah, dropping a hint for the secrets. Right now, it's kind of a, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing going through my head. There's the need for more intimate, curated events that aren't, hundreds of people, but are maybe a handful of people. So thinking through some opportunities there. And then finally, something I really, really enjoyed at Pi, but that's as far as I've gotten. Still thinking through it. Secrets, like, don't tell anybody. It's just me and you. I'm just sharing this with you. So if you have ideas, if you think of stuff, just let me know. And I'll keep working on that concept. But I'll also see you July 8th, hopefully, because you hung out this long. Please come hang out on July 8th and have some food and beverage and hang out with the cookout, okay? Because it's summer. Happy summer. Again, things are slowing down a little bit. I hope you get a little downtime. I hope you get some time outside. Hang in there. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.